loud and clear message which the visit and speech of Minister Jaishankar said at the SCO is that it is time to get back to the basics for the SCO, preventing terrorism, insurgency and separatism. These were three specific focus areas when the organization was set up. One of the members of this organization is working in complete opposition to the objectives of the founding mandate. Pakistan is an epicenter in this region which generates terror, which uses terror as a state policy. It's a message not only for Pakistan, it's also for China. Because Jaishankar ji, he also talked about territorial sovereignty. And of course, there is the message for the United Nations, for the IMF, for the World Bank, the WTO. Otherwise, SCO could end up becoming like SARC, wherein Pakistan's presence kind of has brought everything to a standstill. But I think there is no hope for the UN Security Council to be reformed. India, Japan, Germany, and maybe two from Africa. Which two, when? And will all of these have equal voting rights as America? Will America agree? China, we know clearly, is against our interests. It will never want us on the Security Council even without a veto. The loud and clear message which the visit and speech of Minister Jaishankar said at the SCO is that it is time to get back to the basics for the SCO. It is time to remember what was the objective with which the SCO was set up, which was, in this region, preventing terrorism, insurgency and separatism. These were three specific focus areas when the organization was set up. Now, of course, over time, the mandate, the objectives have broadened, going into, of course, infrastructure, connectivity, trade, digital divide, and even, healthcare, pandemics, etc. But the core point on which the organization was set up was on these three things: separatism, insurgency and terror. So Minister Jaishankar, I think, has very clearly articulated that today. That's a big message, I think. And also, of course, he has related it to the fact that international institutions in the world of today need to reform. And of course, there is the message for the United Nations, for the IMF, for the World Bank, the WTO, all such institutions of the world, which are being ineffective and not playing a relevant role which was envisaged for them. So I think the core message is SCO, all members, do introspection, go back to that basic, and then therefore, square and center Pakistan, because in our view, which is unsaid but which is very clearly said, Pakistan is an epicenter in this region which generates terror, which uses terror as a state policy. And also, I think one more message for the SCO organization, that if it wants to stay relevant, then I think this is a core issue which has to be addressed. Otherwise, SCO could end up becoming like SARC, wherein Pakistan's presence kind of has brought everything to a standstill. So SCO is a larger game. Yes, China is the big daddy there, and Russia, of course, and India. We are also big daddy now, right? So unless Pakistan's role is, identified and Pakistan reforms, improves itself, SCO will not be able to move much ahead, because you see, infrastructure, connectivity, economic development, all of these require a peaceful geography. And in this geography, Pakistan unfortunately sits square and center again. It's Central Asia, Pakistan is there. So unless Pakistan addresses these points, SCO's future may not be very, smooth, or even to the extent that it imagines. Sitting in Islamabad, talking about this issue in a broader sense, I think it's clearly you're striking at the heart of the matter, and you're sitting in the heart of terrorism. So it's a very symbolic, very pertinent, and very clear cut. We are holding no punches. There are no diplomatic niceties in this. We are not, just, glossing over the matter because it's happening in Pakistan. For India, I think the minister would have delivered the same speech, be it in whichever other world capital it was, of the SCO, because this is the core need and requirement of the organization right now to address its founding mandate. And one of the members of this organization is working in complete opposition to the objectives of the founding mandate. So the importance, and I think the key is very clear and it's a message not only for Pakistan, it's also for China. Because Jaishankar ji, he also talked about territorial sovereignty. And that's a very clear, indication to the CPEC corridor, which goes through Gilgit-Baltistan, which is India, it's our, territory. So by saying or articulating this message that territorial integrity should be respected, once again, that was the founding principle of the SCO, that the territorial integrity of all the nations of this organization, because of which, terror should be stopped, separatism should be stopped, extremism should be stopped, all of that. So I think it's a very clear and once again a very articulate message. Now, secondly, with respect to any normalization between India and Pakistan, I do not see any change coming, because I think the minister again said there also that, indicated that I think we are open for everything ahead, provided Pakistan stops not only promoting terror, I would also add to it, its propaganda against India. What troubles us is definitely, the issue of terrorism and cross-border terrorism, which Pakistan indulges and promotes against India, the haven it provides to terrorists against India, but also the propaganda which Pakistan carries out against India worldwide, wherever in international forums, especially related to Kashmir or any other issues. So unless Pakistan has a heart change and has a come to God moment, unless that happens, I do not see any chance of normalization of relations between India and Pakistan. The messaging is very much there. We are absolutely asking for reform of the United Nations. And I could say two things: reform of the UN Security Council and also reform of the UN, of its various agencies. UN has become a bureaucratic white elephant. Thousands and thousands of employees doing bureaucratic pen pushing. The UN needs to reform to be more effective, right? The other thing that we are talking about is reform in the UN Security Council. Yes, China is a member of the Security Council. We are talking about the reform need in the UN Security Council. But I think there is no hope for the UN Security Council to be reformed. None of the existing veto-holding members will want to include any one other player. And forget, it's not only one other player, there's a talk that they will be adding 4, India, Japan, Germany, and maybe 2 from Africa. Which 2, when? And will all of these have equal voting rights as America? Will America agree? See, America agrees and says, yes, India, you should be on the Security Council, but does America say with a veto? We don't know. China, we know clearly, is against our interests. It will never want us on the Security Council even without a veto. So unfortunately, the UNSC is stuck, badly stuck. Okay, given the geopolitics of the reality of the world today, not only geopolitics, the real politics of the world of today. But at the same time, that is the only one, international organization. So we have to push consistently and try to see if that reform can happen. We have to demand it, actually. We are demanding it now. But along with it, the reform of other UN agencies, the various UN agencies, including even the WHO, WTO, UN Human Rights Commission, right? The way they evaluate things and all. So there's a lot to be done in reforming such institutions, including the UN Security Council.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.